Open world video games have always kept a lot of secrets from us. As we progress through the story of the game, we gradually become more and more drawn into it. More plot twists, more skirmishes, and more moments in which the characters betray each other. We follow it all with flushed faces. Unfortunately, some moments presented by the developers are not fully understood by us. There are question marks that are hard to find an answer to in the game, or worse, you can't find the answer at all. We must then conduct our investigation to resolve the ambiguity that bothers us. A perfect example from GTA that illustrates what we said a second ago is the thread of Donald Love, which is what we will be dealing with in today's episode. Welcome to the Gaming Investigators channel, and welcome to another video. Today's episode starts with a case almost as mysterious as the disappearance of Donald Love. We mean that the character wanted so much, or simply, what was in the packages that Claude had to obtain for Love. The packages are first mentioned by Love in the mission, A Drop in the Ocean. This is the famous mission where Claude's job is to collect the packages that have been thrown into the water. Equally important, after collecting all the packages, Claude's account jumps to 5 stars of wanted level, which shows that the packages must contain something damn valuable and highly illegal. After a few days, Claude comes back to Love and learns that, unfortunately, the packages he was collecting were just bait.
Thank you for retrieving those packages, but they were only a decoy. Sorry about that, but that's sometimes the way in business. My real objective was hidden on the plane all along.
In part, as players, we could have expected this earlier. Note that we only get $10,000 for such a serious job, which indicates that Love probably didn't care that much, which is quite suspicious. Anyway, in the next mission, Claude is instructed to retrieve packages from a light aircraft that has been confiscated in the customs hangar at Francis International Airport.
Cross the bridge to Shoreside Vale and go to Francis International Airport. I've paid off the officials. My property will be waiting for you at the customs hangar in the aircraft fuselage.
However, it quickly turns out that not only the police want Love's packages, Colombians also appeared on the spot. The main character makes his way through a bunch of cartel members, but arrives late in the end. The packages have been taken. Nevertheless, the main character is not left with anything, because he finds a clue in the form of a Panlantic construction van, which takes him to Fort Staunton to the construction site. There's even a confrontation between Claude and Catalina, thanks to which the main character gets another chance to take revenge. But since Claude was hesitant to pull the trigger, Catalina escaped death and left the construction site unharmed.
Hey, take it easy, amigo. No es nada, no es nada.
I left you pouring your heart out into the gutter.
Hey, don't shoot, amigo. No problem. We all friends. Here,
Don't be such
take
a
this.
pussy.
Hey, we got no choice, baby. Yeah.
We always got a choice, you dumb bastard.
The only good thing is that at least Love's packages were recovered. Moving on, Claude took part in 2 more missions for Donald Love. In the first one, called Escort Service, Claude was supposed to safely escort an Oriental Gentleman straight to the AMCO Petroleum Company branch in Pike Creek, where the packages were to be, as Love said, verified.
My Oriental friend will need an escort while he takes my latest acquisition to be authenticated. I want you to follow him and make sure both he and my package get to Pike Creek unharmed.
In turn, the second mission was a quest called Decoy. This time, the main character's task was to distract the police from the van so that it could safely drive back to the Love Media building. It can therefore be seen that the LCPD services made one more attempt to get what was inside the packages. And so, after all the commotion, when everything went according to Cannibal Love, Claude goes to Donald for the last time, hoping for another high-paying job, but finds no one inside. Both Donald Love and the Oriental Gentleman are gone, leaving only an open box where the packages must have been. At first glance, the whole thing looks very mysterious, and many people may think that we have no leads on what exactly was in Love's packages or why he disappeared. Fortunately, some sources can lead us to solve this mystery. The first clue that can tell us what was in the box is the Brady Games Guide from GTA 3. Well, as it turns out, when reviewing submissions for Donald Love, the authors of the guide mentioned plates several times. If you associated the story of the printworks in GTA Vice City with the plates, this is definitely a good lead. Yes, in both these cases, plates were to be flown to the city, which was to be used for nothing more than to print fake money. And only now, thanks to this information, we can more or less guess what Donald Love meant when he said that the packages are being verified. Love planned to start laundering money by using his plates in the AMCO Petroleum Company branch, which is one of the fronts of the Love Media conglomerate. If someone wanted to undermine this whole theory, it's not that easy. Well, the evidence presented a moment ago is not the only one. When we look at what the story of GTA 3 was supposed to look like at the time of development of this game before 2001, it's easy to see that there have been a lot of changes. Among other things, the character of Donald Love did not exist, but Toshiro, the Oyabun of Yakuza, was to appear instead. And here it's worth emphasizing that the Oriental Gentleman was already included in the game's script at that time, except that he was a direct Yakuza man. In connection with this topic, looking through many different missions from the Holy Grail of GTA 3, that is the design document, we can come across very interesting information. For instance, during the jailbreak of the police convoy on the Callahan Bridge, the developers mentioned that the Oriental Gentleman knows how to forge documents and currency, which will be crucial to the Yakuza's counterfeiting operation. So initially, it was the Yakuza who would raid the convoy to get the Oriental Gentleman out of trouble, not the Colombians. Moving on, and more specifically to the description of Toshiro's missions, they look very similar to Donald Love's, although some tasks are simply missing from the document and some have been cut out. For example, the Grand Theft Arrow mission, Rockstar North mentions several times the plates that we have to recover. It's also worth mentioning the deleted mission from GTA 3 called One of the Gang. According to the walkthrough for this mission, it looks like the Yakuza have managed to start producing counterfeits, and Toshiro would like to celebrate it in his casino, which by the way belongs to Kenji in the final version. Unfortunately, the old man's joy does not last long, because when he goes with Claude to the garden on the roof of the casino, suddenly an assassin appears in front of the opposite building and manages to shoot Toshiro. And so all the work of continuing the forgery operation and running the Yakuza falls on the shoulders of Kenji Kassen, who becomes the new leader. After a few missions, the plates thread reappears and we get the escort service and decoy missions, only from Kenji, and not from Love as it is in the final version of the game. As we mentioned earlier, the walkthrough for both of these quests is practically identical. It's amazing how these threads intertwine and how they end up forming a whole. Only now we can see how damn important the role of the Oriental Gentleman was supposed to be. No wonder the man is so important to Donald Love, since he's a pretty good forger. Were it not for the document that saw the light of day 20 years after the release of GTA 3, we would not have been able to solve this mystery. We wouldn't know why the packages were so valuable and how important the Oriental Gentleman was in all of this. Finally, we'd like to say a few words about what could have happened to Donald Love after his disappearance. The first option is that Love, along with the Oriental Gentleman, could have been captured by the Colombians who, looking at the storyline, had the same plan with the packages and the Oriental Gentleman. This is an extremely likely option. After all, the Colombians had tried to kidnap the Oriental Gentleman before, and who knows, maybe they got it their way at some point and got rid of Donald Love once and for all. Another option could be that after Love had the plates, he decided to disappear from Liberty City to start counterfeiting money on a large scale in some unknown location. Liberty City has become hellishly dangerous. The real threat was both the Colombians and the LCPD services. What's more, we can even guess how Donald Love could have escaped from Liberty City, and why the theory that the escape was the motive for Love's disappearance is also very real. Namely, in September 2001, the Liberty Tree newspaper published an interview with Donald Love. The man talked about his future investments in Liberty City and his contribution to the development of this city in general. At one point, Donald Love mentions that he spoke to the mayor of the city aboard his luxury yacht in the Caribbean. Why do we think Love can choose his yacht as a potential escape route? Mostly because it was the best escape route. This reminds us of the Colonel Cortez thread from Vice City. In Cortez's case, just like in the case of Donald Love, the airport was out of the question due to the excessive interest of the feds, which automatically blocked local airports. In this case, the best escape route was the sea.
Wouldn't it be safer to fly?
I'd be dead before I reach check-in. Besides, I need to get my merchandise out of the country.
Need another gun?
You, my friend, are worth 10 guns.
How do you think Love's disappearance turned out? Did the real estate mogul get away, or did the Colombians get him? Be sure to let us know what you think about it in the comments. Meanwhile, that's all for today. We now recommend you watch our video about the mystery of the ghost town and the further fate of Claude and Catalina. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in another episode. Take care and see you soon.